Let's recreate this simple ebook design. You're welcome to my design workshop, where I help you turn ideas into visual stories. By the end of this lesson, you'll learn how to create a simple ebook layout, find placeholder text, and you'll be confident enough to try it out on your own. Because in this workshop, we practice what we learn. On the home page, click on the plus button labeled Create right over here on the left-hand side panel. Once I click on that, it will open up a pop-up window where we can select the kind of document we would like to work on. I'm going to type in here Doc A4. And from the list of options provided, I will select Document A4 Portrait. Once I click on that, it will take me straight into the Canva editor. You're welcome to the Canva editor. Now let's get to work. You can either access a template by clicking on the left corner right over here where it says templates to see some layouts, styles that you'd like to use. So over here, we can see that it's already open the templates that are available here. You can click on styles to see some of the color combinations that have been suggested for you. We have font sets over here. If you'd like to pick any of these, we have the options over here. And you can also come in here, look for a template, and apply it to your design. But today we will be creating a digital product from scratch. For starters, let's create a mini font and color guide. This is especially helpful if you're on a free account. First, I'll press T on my keyboard. I'll click anywhere on the page and press T on my keyboard. Then I'll type in fonts. I'm going to expand that. Position it at the center of the page, right over there. When you see the thick line going from top to bottom, that means it is centered. I'll just release it there. And I will change this to Roboto. Just search Roboto over here. That's it. Now I'm going to duplicate this and bring it over here and type in heading. I'm going to reduce the size of this. I'll move it up to the left-hand side. Change the font size to 30. Move it a little bit more since the size has changed. It's changed position. I'll position it over here and then I'll change it to uppercase by clicking on the lowercase uppercase letter A over here on the floating toolbar. It says here uppercase. I've changed that to uppercase and then I will duplicate and type in here League Spartan. That's 1 second. I'll just stretch this out because I want it to fill the area. I'm typing in here League Spartan. I'll change it to lowercase. Actually, I'll just keep it at uppercase and change the size to 20. Then I'll come over here and type in League Spartan. Click on that. Yeah, there we have it. Now I'm going to center the heading. Just move it a little bit to the right, like that. And then I will copy all of this, press, hold, and copy. Command C and Control C for Windows. And then I will paste over here. Now I'm going to change this to subheading and change this to Tan, mon chéri. Now we're just going to look for the font and change that over there. Type in here, Tan, mon chéri. There it is. You've got that. Now I can reduce the size of this to 20. Okay, it's already 20. I'll move this up slightly. Now I'm going to duplicate this so that I can include the body. I'll just copy this, press, hold, and drag to copy, and then Command D to duplicate. And then I'll drag it to this side so that I can include the body text. Type in here, body. Then I will type here quicksand. That's the body text we'll be using. Now I'm just going to reorganize everything onto the page. First, let's just zoom this out a bit. I'm going to zoom it out so it's slightly bigger. I still want to see add page. Yeah, so 48 should be fine. And then I will move things around so it looks nice and organized. Just move this up slightly. Leave some space between the body and the font. Like that. And I'll move this a little bit to the left. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm just going to move the font up a bit and change the font size to 43. I'll bring it down slightly. Now, since we changed the size, it moved position. So I'm going to bring it down slightly, and now we have the first part done. Now let's click on font and duplicate that. I'll bring it downward and type in here color. Colors, yeah, because we have two colors that we will be including. Then click anywhere and then press C on your keyboard to bring on a circle. Just going to reduce the size slightly, bring it up here. Before I bring on the color, I'll duplicate this. So we have two circles. As I mentioned, there's going to be two colors. As I mentioned, I'm going to use two colors. Just put this over here. And I will reduce the size of the circle. Shouldn't really matter, to be honest. I just want to reduce the size of the circle. This should be fine. One goes over there. Just center them. Yeah, like that. When you see the line that's going horizontally, that shows that it is in the middle of the page when it comes to the width of the page. Okay. Next, we're going to add the colors. The first circle is going to be a light orange color, and the hex code for this color is hashtag triple F 1DF. That's the color we'll be using. It's popped up. Then the next color we'll be using the next color is a dark purple color, which is hashtag 3E1 C51. That's the dark purple we'll be using. Next, I'm going to take this, which I'm just recentering. I'm going to take that and duplicate. So click on it, Command D or Control D on Windows, duplicate, and then I'm going to add here patent. Okay, now let's add our patent. I'm going to be using two patents that look very much alike. I'll search for the first one in the element section. I'm already here. If you want to go to the element section, you just have to click element and it'll open up the element section. I'm going to type in here. You can see I've already searched it. I'll just click on abstract gold wave line design. Once I click on that, set options open up in the graphics section. I'll just click on see all and scroll through to find what I'm looking for. Let's wait. Okay. I see a similar one. So I'll click on the three dots. Clicking on that will open up the information. It will give you information on the element. So we can see here it's called Abstract Waveline Art Design. And now this is not the exact one I'm looking for. I'm looking for something else. So I'll come here to see more like this. Clicking on that will open up designs that are similar to what I have just looked for. I'll scroll through to find the exact one I'm looking for. It's gold. That's it right there. The one I'm looking for is this one. So I'm just going to click on it. As you can see, it's a golden pattern. I'll put it right over here. I'll just reduce the size and put it in this corner. Now I'm going to look for the second pattern. It's also a golden pattern. That one is called Abstract Wavy Line Pattern in Gold and Black. So let's search for that. I just want to show you how you can easily look for elements when you're looking for them. This one is Abstract Wavy Line Pattern in Gold and Black. So I'm just going to type that in here. Abstract Wavy Line Pattern in Gold and Black. Press enter. So now I'm just going to scroll through to find the one I'm looking for. It is this one over here. How we know is we can click on these three dots. Clicking on that will show the name, the creator, and it's by the same creator. So if you go to see more like this, you'll see all the designs available from this creator. Let's do that. We did that already before. Okay, so it's all here right now. You can see we've looked at this. Yeah. All right. So I'll go back and select this one. Reduce the size by pulling on this round circle in the corner. And then I'll position it at the bottom right over here. Okay, now we have our mini color and font guide. Well, this one has some patterns, so it's just like our mini brand guide. If you don't have the brand section, if you don't have access to it because it's a pro feature, well, you've made your own brand guide right over here that you can also use for other designs, making it easy for you to find your colors and your font really quickly and pretty easily. I'll just realign this. Okay, that's that. So yes, our mini color and font guide is complete. We're moving on to the design. Before we move on to the design, I'd like to make a small tweak to this over here, Quicksand. I have to change the font to Quicksand. Let me do that quickly by typing in Quicksand when I go to the font section. That's it right there. Yes. So we have the three different types of fonts you will see throughout the document. Now let's move on. The next thing we're going to do is add page. We're going to design our cover page. I'm going to click here to add a new page. Now I'm going to change the color of the background. First, I'll close here. I'm going to change the color of this background. Before I do that, I'll also change the color of this background. Clicking on there, and I will type it in here. Okay, I'll type the hex code of the color in here. It's A86C3F. That's the color we'll be using. Yeah. Next, we're going to our second page. I'm going to change the color of this background as well. I'll click on the circle. It says background color. Once I click on that, I will clear the hex color code that I typed into the search bar, and it will take me back to the area that has the document colors. Because we've already created our document that has all our colors, our fonts, and patterns, you'll see that the colors we will be using will be populated over here. Again, this is especially useful if you're on a free account because you can't include anything. You can only include 3 colors to your brand kits for starters unless you upgrade. Okay, so I'm going to change the background color to this light orange color over here. Once we've got that there, the next thing we're going to do is to bring on an element. This element that we're going to be using is called white marble surface. So we would have to close this color section right over there. We're back in the element section. I'm going to type what I'm looking for over here. Again, I'm using free elements in this document. So people on a free account, you're good to go. So I'm going to type in here photo of a marble surface. Now it's a photo, so I'm going to go into see all. That way I can have a look at the options available. I am looking for a free marble surface. This one, yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. To be honest, you can pick any of the ones that have a gray finish. That would work well. So I will click on this and bring it onto my sheet. Now let's extend it to fill the top part of the document. I'm just going to extend it this way. I'll leave a margin, extend it to the right, extend it to the left as well. Not fully. Yeah, leaving a bit of a margin. Then I'll center it. When you see that pink line going all the way down, means it is centered. That's that. Now I'm going to look for an image that I can include. Back to the element section to do that. So I'm going to type in here photo of a marble surface. Now it's a photo, so I'm going to go into see all. That way I can have a look at the options available. I am looking for a free marble surface. This one, yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. To be honest, you can pick any of the ones that have a gray finish. That would work well. So I will click on this and bring it onto my sheet. Now let's extend it to fill the top part of the document. I'm just going to extend it this way. I'll leave a margin, extend it to the right, extend it to the left as well. Not fully. Yeah, leaving a bit of a margin. Then I'll center it. When you see that pink line going all the way down, means it is centered. That's that. Now I'm going to look for an image that I can include. Back to the element section to do that. I'll type into the search bar, Black professional woman working. With laptop. Very long description. Let's see what comes up. You can select any picture of your choice. especially if it has a grayish background. That works very well. I'll be going for this very one over here. It says professional woman working at laptop desk, businesswoman. Some of the keywords over here, it says show all keywords. So when you're searching, you can include these keywords and it will bring it up. Some of these keywords, not all of them, but some of these keywords are able to bring up this picture. But you can also go through and select whichever picture you like. I'll click on it and bring it on. What I'm going to do now is reduce the size to make it fit, but leave a small margin around it, just like you see me doing over here. I will make sure that it doesn't exceed, but that I have an even margin all around. So I'll just center it. As you can see, the thick line is over there. There you have it. It is centered. So this is the image we're going for. Now I'm going to press T on my laptop and we're going to include the title of the ebook. Title is how, all caps, how to launch your freelance career. What I'm going to do is I'm going to align this left, so left align like that, and I will enter so that it looks something like this. Now I'm going to change the font. Our main title font is League Spartan, as we already chose in the very beginning. So I'm going to click on this and change the font over here. You'll see it in our recently used section. I'll just click on League Spartan. First, I'm going to copy all of it, and usually as soon as I select this and click League Spartan, it will change everything. Yeah. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to change the line spacing of this. Come up here, it says advanced settings. You see the letter T. Click on that and come to line spacing. I'm going to type in here 1.23 and then enter for the line spacing. I want it to be close. I'm going to change the font size to 38. So I'll just click on it, select it, come over here and type in 38, press enter. Now I can just extend this, move it up, and change the size to, and change the color to our dark purple. I'll just go over here to text color, click and select the dark purple color to change it. Now that's done, I'm going to add a name. I'll press T on the keyboard and then I will type in here by Aduki. Bring that down over here to the bottom. Also left aligned. I'll just make that left aligned. Leave some space between the main title and this name over here. And then I will change the font to Tant Mon Chéri over there. Just like that. Okay, now let's spice up our design by adding one of our patterns. I'm going to go to our guide sheet and click on this one on the left, right over here. To copy, Control C for Windows and Command C for Mac users. I'm just going to come over here and press Command V. I'll move it over to the right hand side corner. Let's rotate it. This symbol over here that shows two arrows that are turning around, that's to rotate. So I'm going to rotate it like that all the way until I have the part that I want. Actually, I don't need to rotate it much, just slightly this way. And then I will tuck it in. All I want to see is that the ends of the lines look like they're fading in. As you can tell, the lines fade out. And so I will rotate it, tuck it in, and have about 3 lines showing. And then I will rotate it slightly this way. Almost there. You can position it however you like. I'm just going to go with this. I'll extend this part and then I will rotate it one more time. Just like that. Just like this. Now let's tuck it in. Yeah. This is what I'm going for. Just lift it up a little bit. This is what I'm going for. All right, that's done. Now I want to add another part in, but we will be adding the one on the right. So I'm just going to bring that onto the second page just by dragging and bringing it on. I'm just going to tuck it over here. I want to flip it. So to do that, I'll come over here and click flip. Once I click on that, it will show me 2 options. I can either flip horizontal or flip vertical. I'm going to go with flip horizontal. So I will click on flip horizontal. There you go. And then I'll just tack it in here. Now, what I'm going to do is I need this to go underneath the marble. So once it's selected, I'll go to position, click on that, and select backward. Under arrange, there's forward to front, backward, and to back. I'm going to click on backward. And there, my pattern is tucked in. I want it to go backward one more time so that it is behind the marble. And that's the effect I have achieved now. I'll just move it up slightly like that. Yes. Our cover page is done. How easy was that? Now let's tuck it in. Yeah. This is what I'm going for. Just lift it up a little bit. This is what I'm going for. All right, that's done. Now I want to add another part in, but we will be adding the one on the right. So I'm just going to bring that onto the second page just by dragging and bringing it on. I'm just going to tuck it over here. I want to flip it. So to do that, I'll come over here and click flip. Once I click on that, it will show me 2 options. I can either flip horizontal or flip vertical. I'm going to go with flip horizontal. So I will click on flip horizontal. There you go. And then I'll just tack it in here. Now, what I'm going to do is I need this to go underneath the marble. So once it's selected, I'll go to position, click on that, and select backward. Under arrange, there's forward to front, backward, and to back. I'm going to click on backward. And there, my pattern is tucked in. I want it to go backward one more time so that it is behind the marble. And that's the effect I have achieved now. I'll just move it up slightly like that. Yes. Our cover page is done. How easy was that? So there's one more thing I want us to do on here. Let's select the marble and the image. By coming onto this corner here, I'll just press, hold, and drag to select the image and the marble. Once I release, I have the option that has popped up over here to group. Let's group that. What that would do is if ever you want to move this, you can easily do that without shifting anything. So I can move it to the left, move it to the right, and I can also center it. When you see the thick line going all the way to the bottom, centered. All right, now that that's done, we're moving on to the next page, which is our content page. If you found this easy, let me know in the comment section. You can type in there, easy peasy, if you've been able to do the cover page. All right, now that that's done, we're moving on to the next page, which is our content page. I'm going to add the second page by coming over here and clicking on Add Page. You can either do it this way or you can come to the top. You'll see these icons over here. You can click Add Page over here. I'm going to do that by clicking on this Add Page button right underneath the cover page. Okay, we've added our third page. Now, this is going to be our content page. Now, I want you to press T on your keyboard. Type in here content page. Move it up somewhere in the center. We'll move it again once we change the font. Now, come to the font section over here and look for Tan Mon Chéri. Click on that. And then you can center it right over there. It gives you that margin so you know it's centered. And then you see the line that goes right through. You know it's in the middle. All right. The next thing we're going to do is change the font size to 31. So I'll click on content page and change the font size over here to 31 and press enter. Okay. Now that that's done, we're going to need our marble surface. To do that, you can go back to your element section, go to recently used, click on see all and grab that marble, which for me is this one over here. Now, I'm going to use this as some type of border. So I'll extend it all the way up here to the top and then all the way to the bottom. You'll see where this is going shortly. So just extend it. See the thick line shows you where it ends. I'm just leaving a bit of a margin on the sides. And then some space between content page and the marble. The next thing we're going to do is search for a rounded picture holding frame from the element section. So I'll type in here rounded square picture holder frame. And it should bring that up. I'll find it in my recently used section because I've already looked for it, but I just want to show you how you can also find it. So if you come into this frame section, you should see it somewhere here. I think this is the one. I'm just going to click on it. It is by Canva Create Studio. So you can also type that in there. It'll help bring it up quicker. I'll click on that and extend it inside the frame. Also leaving a border around it. So it looks something like this. Just want to make sure it is equal on all sides. Yeah, that's it right there. Now I'm going to change the color to white. So I click on it. You'll see this says color. And then I will select white. Yeah. So you should have something like this. All right. What I want to do now is change the font of this to 36, make it a little bigger, press enter, and then I will move it up slightly, making sure that it is centered, leaving a good amount of space between the marble and that title. I think I want to bring it down slightly. Yeah, this is where I want it to be. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this contents page over here. I'm going to copy it. So command, or you can either duplicate or copy. I'll just duplicate. So command D for Mac and control D for Windows users. I'll bring it over here, left align, and then I'll change it to page 1. Change the font size to 18, making it smaller. And then the next thing is to go into the element section to find a shape. I'm looking for the rounded square, so I'll just type it in here. Enter. There it is, very first one that appears. We're going to extend it on the page, move it up, and reduce the size. Make it this small. I'll reduce the size and then position it here. Just extend it a little bit more. Make sure that I have some space between the page and the rounded square where I'm going to put the information. So I'm going to change the color of this to the color of our document, which is this light orange over here. So yeah, we've got that on there. So this is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock these two in place. First, I'll group them. So I'll copy the marble and the white paper. I'm calling it a paper, but you know what I mean. And the white rounded frame. I'll just group those two together. And then I will lock them up. Boop. Okay. So that's locked in place. It's not going to move. See, I'm trying to move it. Nothing is happening. That way I can play around with whatever that I'm typing onto the sheet. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is duplicate this. I'll copy and Command D or Command or Control D. And then I'll move it to the bottom. And I'll change this to page 2. I'm going to do this 5 times because there are going to be 5 different parts of this document. So this is page 1, page 2, and I'm going to add 3, 4, 5, and that will be it. I think I need to reduce the size of this slightly just to make room for the others. I'll still keep this at 18, so I'll come back and change that to 18. And I'll do the same for this. Make it a little smaller. Keep this at 18. Yes, that's what I want to do. Keep it where it's at. Okay. You'll realize that as you're moving things around, you'll see the numbers appearing, showing you how much space you're leaving between the element. All right, let's copy these two and then duplicate so we can bring that to the bottom. When you duplicate the two, you'll get two out of that. Okay, so I've got these two here. I think I need to make this smaller. I'm just going to copy all of it and reduce the size all at once. How cool is that? Okay, and then I will move it to the left hand side. All right. Next, I will duplicate just one because I only need one more. So let's duplicate this. Command D. And I will put that underneath over here. Now it's time to adjust, move things around until it fits just the way we need it to. I'll start with the first one. Move it up slightly. Extend this a bit. And then still reduce the size. Okay. And I will also move this up a little bit more over here. Yes, so this is the size I'm going for. The best thing to do would be to change it in the beginning and then just duplicate everything. So I'll duplicate this, bring it over here, remove this. I'll duplicate this, bring it over here. Then I'll duplicate that, move it underneath there. And then I'll duplicate this and bring it over here. Okay. Now we've got what we need. All of it is on here. Page 1, page 2. I'm going to change this to page 3. 3. Then I'm going to change this to page 4. 4. Then I'm going to change this to page 5. Just shift it a little bit because it was not well positioned. Yes, so we have our design complete. I think we need to change the spacing between the page and the rounded square, especially for page 4 and 5. I'm going to just move this up slightly over here. Move this. And then move this page 5 down a bit. And move this lower just to create some more space. Okay, I think I'm happy with where it's at right now. I just need to change the spacing here because it is quite wide as compared to the rest. Let's look at it again. Okay. Okay, so now let's change the colors. I'm going to start with the text, the title over here, content page. We're changing this to the dark purple over here. And all the text will be that color as well. I'm going to click on change all at the bottom over here so that everything that is currently black will change to purple because all our font will be this dark purple color. So I'll click on that and it says color change across all pages. Easy peasy. Okay. Next, I'm going to bring on more text so that we can include some information on the content page. Press T on the keyboard and type in welcome page. I'll bring this down. I'll just click and bring this over here. Change the font size to 20. I'll extend it so that it is in one line. Align left. Now we're going to change the font to League Spartan over here. It says document fonts. You'll see it over there, League Spartan. Now let's center it. Next, we will just duplicate what we have over here. Move it to the second rounded square. And type in here, introduction. Next, we're going to duplicate that. Command D or Control D. Move it over to the next rounded square. And this time we're going to type here, the right mindset. Okay, it's nicely aligned. Again, we will duplicate, position that in the next one. And then we will type getting started. Reposition it so that it is centered. And then we will duplicate that again. I'll change that to next steps. Next, we're going to spice up this page by bringing on some patterns. Let's go to our guide. I'll be selecting this one over here. So Command C, and then I will bring it over here. I'll be tucking it into the left-hand side corner. To do this, I'm going to reduce the size slightly, bring it forward slightly, and flip it. I'll select flip horizontal, and then I will tuck it in over here like this. The next thing we're going to do is we will position it backward. All right, so that's tacked in there, and then I will duplicate and move this over here. I'll also flip it horizontal, and then I will tack it in here like this. All I need to do again is to change the position. You can click on to back as well, and then it will move backwards. So what we've done here is they're both facing each other. You'll see that they look the same, but facing each other, and that's what I'm going for. You can position it however you like, whatever works for you. You can do that. Okay, we will do the same for the bottom. So I'll just click here, duplicate that, and then tack it into the bottom. Again, move it backwards. I'll just go to back, and I will click on this one, duplicate, and tack it in here. And again, I will select to back. All right, now I'm going to change the transparency of a few of these rounded squares. I'll click on this second one. That's one of the ones I'm changing. I'll click on transparency and I'll type in here 46. For transparency, you can either move this or type in what you're looking for. I'm moving it to 46. I'm going to do the same for page 4. Typing in here 46 and then pressing enter. Okay, so this is the effect I'm going for. All right, it's time for us to design our pages. To do this, I'm going to add a new page. I'll click on Add Page. And we're going to need a title. So I'll copy from here, Content Page. I'll just copy that. So Command C, Control C for Windows. It's been positioned in the middle. And I will type in here, welcome. Then we need a frame with rounded corners. I'm going to type in here, simple rounded corner frame. It's already in my recently used, but I just want to search it so you can have an idea of how to find it. Okay, so it's just right over here. It's simple rounded corner square frame. I'll click on that and I will center it over here, reduce the size. Now we need an image. I'll center it like that. Right over there, and then let's find our image. It's already in my recently used. You can use any image you like, but I'm using a woman in black blazer posing. I'll just tuck it in here and move it down. That's the image we're going for. I'll move it up slightly. Okay, next, I need us to add some text. So we're going to go over here. I will unlock this. I'll unlock this so I can copy the white rounded square. First, I need to ungroup. Then I will Command C. You can do Control C if you're on Windows again. I will take that and paste it over here, Command V. Now I'm going to reduce the size, position it at the bottom of the page, fill it up slightly, stretch it to fill out the page a bit more, still leaving that margin around it. I'll move it up slightly like this, bring it down some more. Okay, I'm happy with it like this. Next, we need some text. First, I'm going to take this welcome over here, duplicate that, bring it on, and type in about me. We need to reduce the size of this to 16, so you know where to go. It's just up there next to font. I'll type in here 16, reduce the size. Now I can bring on some text. To do that, we need to go to apps. So scroll until you see apps on the left-hand side panel. And then type in here, lorem ipsum. That's it over here. Click on the first one. It has this yellow highlight. I'm going to open that. First, I'll change the number of characters to 27. The font is 16, correct. And then I will click here, generate. Oh, there. It's already generated that. I'll bring it in here. I'm going to center it so it'll be center aligned. Lift it up slightly. Change the font to our body font, which is Quicksand. Just reposition it. I think I need to extend this square slightly just to give it some room. It's always good to have white space around your work. Makes it look nice and clean. So I will reposition this like that. Okay, now we have an About Me section. Next, we're going to duplicate About Me. Bring it somewhere here. Make sure it's centered. The dashed lines means that it's centered inside of that rounded square. I'm going to type here my story. And inside lorem ipsum, I'll type in here 100 characters. So generate, and then we have our text. Change the font to our body text, which is Quicksand. Center it. Then reposition it to the center. Okay, I think it's coming along nicely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the rounded square slightly to the bottom. And then I will break this up into about 3 paragraphs. Let's try that. 1. Somewhere here should be fine. Okay, we've got 3 paragraphs. We need to move it up so that it is inside the rounded square. Okay. I'm going to raise this up slightly and then move this up, leaving the same amount of space between About Me and the text and my story and the text. Let's adjust this, make sure that it is centered. Open this up a little more. I think I'll reduce the size of this slightly. Move it up. Reduce the size. Move it up. Move this up. And then expand the bottom, giving some white space. Move this a little bit here. Move this. Now let's recenter this. Move this down. All right. It's coming along nicely. I just want to leave some space at the bottom over here. Okay, next we're going to add another image. But before that, let me just adjust this again. Okay. Okay, let's add an image. To do that, I will click on the element section. I'll type in here, laptop on table. I'll go to photos and then I'll click on see all to find the image I'm looking for. Okay, I found it. It's over here. This is the image I'm looking for. I'm going to extend the ends. I'm going to make it smaller and then I'll extend the ends. I want to see a little bit of the chair. I want to see a little bit of the chair, the flowers, and the laptop. Now, we're going to move this image to the bottom of the page. Just make sure it doesn't go into the frame because that's a frame and not a square. We could have used a rounded square, so keep that in mind. But since it's a frame, if I move it this way, it can fit into the frame. So I'll just move it to the bottom over here. I want the flowers to show, and then I will leave it there. We're not done yet. Click on that, go to position, and move it to back. Okay, next, I'm going to move things around a bit when it comes to the text. I'll change the color as well. Let me check that quickly. So you can move things around until you're satisfied with where it's at. The most important thing is that your text is aligned, titles are aligned, images are aligned. And with these lines that show up, it helps you to know what you're doing. So yes, I think that this is better aligned and it has a good amount of white space. I will just check to see if the title is properly aligned. I think this is where it should be. I just want to bring it down slightly. Yeah. Before we move on to the next page, I'll just extend this slightly so that the picture is a little bit more obvious. I'll extend that a bit more. Yeah, just like that. Now let's make sure the colors are what we would like that to be. I'm going to change the text to dark purple. Again, it gives me the option. So I'm going to click on change all, and all our text has changed to purple. Color change across all pages. I think I'll change all the text to 14 as well. The body text to 14. Just to create some more white space. Yeah. Before we move on to the next page, I'll just extend this slightly so that the picture is a little bit more obvious. I'll extend that a bit more. Yeah, just like that. All right. Now to the next page. I would need a title. So I'll come over here, copy this, and then position it over here. Make sure it is centered. And we will change this to, let's check that, the right mindset. That's where we're at now. And we will change this to introduction. Make sure it's centered. Yes, it is. I'll check that. Yeah, introduction. Now, the next thing we would have to do now is bring on this rounded frame over here. Command C. I'll just bring that on. Move it up right underneath introduction. I will reduce the size. I'll reduce the size by pulling this up. This should be fine right there. This is what it looks like. And then I will bring my story, this one, just to give this a title as well. Place that on there. I'll change this to what is freelancing. And then I will go back to apps to get some text from lorem ipsum. I just want to redo that so you can see what's possible over here. I'll change the number of words to 62. Font size stays at 16 and I will generate. There you go. I've got my text. I'll bring it on here. Change that to our body text, which is quicksand. Center it. Reposition. I'll change the font size to 15. I'll just make that change over here, 15. And I will have it repositioned here. And I'll center that. And I think I'll change the color. Yes, I'll change the color to purple, the dark purple that we have. Everything else is dark purple. Yes. Okay. So now we have the first part complete. This is what it looks like. Okay. Now that that's done, it's time to bring on an image. Go back to the element section. You can just click on elements over here and I'll look for that image. I'll type in here person typing on laptop. Let's see what that brings up. I'm looking for a free image. So if you have access to pro images, you can do that. You can just select any of these and I'll show you how I'll be positioning that shortly. I've found the image I'm looking for. Like I said, you can use any image you like. This we will extend all the way until it matches the ends of the rounded square. Let's just match that quickly. And then I'll extend it to the bottom, leaving some space around that. I'll extend it a little bit more. Okay. So this is what this would look like. Next, let's move this position. Next, let's move this backward. Yeah, so this is what it would look like. The white looks like it's on top of the image. Next, we will duplicate. I'm going to come over here this time around. I'll click on this duplicate page button and we have duplicated our page. I'll delete this image, extend this white rounded square all the way to the bottom, leaving some margin at the bottom as well. That should be fine. I will create two sections. In this case, I will have to align this text left by going up here, alignment, and I'll align left. I will click on it, duplicate, and then move that to the right, leaving some space between the two. All right. Now I want to leave some margin over here. I'll move this onto this side slightly, move this closer so that they are both centered. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to change this title. I'm going to change the title. I will type in here, believe in yourself. Yeah, you believe in yourself. Okay. Now that we've got that there, it's in the right font. We're going to add an image. I'll close this and type in here, bent match stick. Spelled. Let's see what that brings up. I'm going for something specific and free. Let's see. Okay, I found the image I'm looking for. It's this one over here. Let's see what it's called. Bent Matchstick Spelled Mind. Okay, it's by V Studio from Pexels. So you can either find this or look for something else that inspires you. Plus, this is just me putting in placeholders so you can make changes. All right, let's move on. I'll click on that and I'll move the image, just making sure that it doesn't fill the frame. Let's lock the frame before bringing on our image. I'll click on it and lock it. Now I'll bring the image so that I can move it to the bottom. Otherwise, it will fill it up since this is a frame. So now I'll just move the image to fill this area, still leaving some white space. So we will just reduce the size of the image, leave some white space at the bottom, leave some between the text, and then we will extend it to the sides like this. I'll just move it this way. Now it is centered. Now let's change the title. This will be The Right Mindset. We're moving on to the fourth info page. Let's create our fourth page. I'll duplicate this page to do that by clicking over here. Now I'm going to remove this part of the text, remove our image. I'll change the heading to Getting Started. Then after that, I'm going to change the subtitle over here. I'm going to move this to the left. First, I'm going to move this to the left like that. And then I'll extend this over here. Next, I'm going to change this title to Identify Your Top Skills. Your top skills. We'll just have to realign that. Yeah, there you go. And then I'll duplicate this, move it below that, leaving some good space. good amount of space between. I'll change this to cold client pitches. And then I will move that over here. Next, we're going to unlock this, move it all the way down to the bottom somewhere here, leaving some space between the text and the rounded square. Okay, next, after bringing it down, I'm going to copy about 3 lines of this. Just about the first 3 lines of this. And then I will paste it in here. I'll move it into this area. I'll change the font size to 28. And change the font to Quicksand. I'm going to move it in by dragging it inward both ways until it fits the way I would like it to fit. First, let me extend this square like that. Then I will extend this text as well. I'm going to reduce the text slightly because I want more room to make it big. It's supposed to look like a quote. So, yeah, something like this. Just reorganize that. Move it up. I'm going to search quotation marks. I've already searched them, but I want you to see what comes up when I search quotation marks. I'm looking for graphics. So I'm going to go into this graphics section over here. And I will choose this one. Quote mark icon. Reduce the size of that. Bring it over here. Reduce the size of that a lot more. So this is basically you taking text that you want to highlight and including that in a separate section to sort of highlight it and make it prominent. Let me make sure this is centered. I'll lift this up slightly. And I'm going to copy this bit and move it up a little bit just to create the same amount of space here and there. Okay. One more thing. I'm just going to move this here. Alignment is very important. So you can just move things around until they're properly aligned. Last but not least, I'll change the color of the quotation marks to this dark purple. And what page is that? Our fourth. Now let's duplicate this page. Okay, now let's work on our duplicated page. We've duplicated this one. I'll change the title to Next Steps. Then I will delete this text, delete this title. I'll change this to Three Steps You Can Take Today. And then I will center that. Copy just about the first 3 lines of this. And then delete this bit. Then I'll paste it. Center it over here and change that to our body font, which is the quicksand. I'll just increase the size to 14. That's it. Center this a bit. I'm going to go up to the top to bring the rounded shape from here. This one over here. I'll copy that. Bring it to the bottom here. I'm going to change the color to white so I can see it. Extend that. Move over here and make it bigger. Just move this in slightly. Move this in just for some space around the text. I'll move this here. And then I'll duplicate this. I'll change that to step 1. Bring that here. Open it up a little bit more. Extend this slightly. I'll click on it, duplicate, and move it in here. Then I will align left. Let me adjust things so that there's enough space. Yeah, so that's step 1. Now I'm going to open this up a little bit more. Move this. Then I'm going to move this down slightly. And then recenter this. And then I'll delete this part. We don't need it. I'm just going to duplicate this twice. Put step 2 over here. Duplicate again. And then we have step 3 in that order. So I'm going to change this here. Step 2. Let me make sure there's space between. Okay. I'm going to change this to step 3. There you go. Now I'm going to add titles to each section. I'll come over here, duplicate this. Click on this, duplicate it. Bring it into the rounded square. The first step is create your portfolio. I'm going to align that this way, make sure it's left aligned. I'll move this down, increase the size of the square slightly. Then I can move things around more easily inside. It means we will do the same for the other rounded squares. The next step would be, I'll just duplicate this. Set up your LinkedIn account. Set up your LinkedIn account. I'll just move this, open up this. The best thing to do to make sure it's all the same size would be to just duplicate the first one once you are satisfied with which size it's at. But I'll just go through and increase the size. So I'll move this down and give some room between the title and the top of the rounded square, like that. Then I'll do the same for this one. This one is start pitching. Just duplicate this title, bring it on here, and then type in there, start pitching. Then I will increase the size of this, move the text down and give room to the title. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I will copy all of it and adjust. I'll just copy all 3 steps and move them down slightly. Okay, so we have pretty much reached, well, almost at the end. I'll just reposition this part, which is like the introduction to the section. I'll just move this. Okay. And now to the last page. Before moving to the last page, I just want to adjust these titles a little bit. I think this one's fine. This one's also fine. So now we can move to the next page. To do this, I will duplicate this page, delete almost everything except the title because we will need that. And we will also need the one rounded square, so I will delete the rest. Now, I'm going to delete step 1. Move this square into the middle. Expand it as much as I like. And then reposition it. Okay. I'll change this to thank you. And then I will bring this over to the center. Now let's move it all to the middle. I'm going to adjust the square, make it smaller, change the size of the text over here, the size to 33. I'm going to center that. Reduce the text. Then I will recenter it. Yeah, reposition that as well. Now I'm going to bring the image we used for one of the pages. This image right here, I'll place it on top and right click and select replace background. So this is what it looks like, but that's not all. I'm going to go in here and reduce the transparency to 20. So this is what we're going for. I'll double click the image and then I will slide it to make sure that the laptop is centered, just like this. And then we can see a bit of the flower and that chair in the background. So I'll slide it to the right till it's centered. Then I'll click anywhere on the page. Let me do it again, slightly this way. Okay, I think it's where I like it to be. Now I'm going to reposition the rounded square. I'll just copy it with everything and I'll bring it down slightly, still in the middle. This is fine. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the quotation marks, this one, put it over here, move the thank you slightly above that, change the color of the quotation marks to our dark purple. Next, we're going to duplicate the thank you, bring it to the bottom over here, type connect with me. I'm going to change this font to Leak Spartan. Move it down slightly. Change the size, font size to 20. And then I will center it. Next, I will duplicate that. Come over here. Type out Instagram. I'll move it to the left. I'm going to change the font to Quicksand. Duplicate that. Bring it to the middle. Change that to TikTok. Duplicate that and take it over to the side. So as you can see, those lines are showing me that they're all on the same row. Change this to LinkedIn. Oops. LinkedIn. Okay. Now I'm going to copy all three and try to move them again, centering all of them like that. Actually, not quite there yet. Just move it a little bit to the right. Okay. I think this is it. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'll just duplicate Connect with Me again, bring it here to the bottom, type out email, and then take the Instagram, duplicate that. And then I'll just type here freelance@gmail.com. All of these are placeholders, gmail.com. And I will center that. The next thing I'm going to do is I will copy all of these at the bottom and move them up slightly like that. Okay. We are almost there. Last but not least, we're going to spice up the design. You can include the links. Once you have that, you can include the links. If you right click and then you come over here, link, you can add a link over here. I'm not adding a link, just showing you how you can do that. So I'm going to click done. Now, let's add our patterns. We haven't seen those in a while. Go all the way to our guide. And then I'm going to take the same ones I used over here. So I'll just copy this, tuck those into the sides. First, the left side. So I'll just go V, tuck that over here. Duplicate, tuck this at the bottom. Then I will go back to the top, copy this side. That's the right side, copy. And then I'll go right down to the bottom, tuck this in here, move it a little bit inward. Then I will duplicate it, tuck it in here. And that is that. Our design is complete. You know what to do. Try it out. Because in this workshop, we practice what we learn. Let's preview our work. I'm going to click on this button to expand so that we can preview the design. I'm going to go to the beginning and we can go through it from there. So let's go to our guide. Okay, so this is our guide that shows us our fonts, colors, patterns that we will be using, that we used for the design. Now I'm going to go to the right. This is our first page. This is our content page. This is our welcome page. This is the introduction. This is the right mindset, believe in yourself. Getting started page. Next steps. Last but not least, thank you page. So our design is complete. Now go on and get creative. So, you've learned how to group text and elements. Search for apps in the Apps section, and you've learned how to reduce the transparency of images to be used as a background. Now go on and get creative.